Pokemon Day tomorrow, and Ali, I'm not that hyped. So if you see, obviously, the title of the video and obviously the thumbnail, I'm not really that hyped when it comes to Pokemon Day, 2026. It's the 30th anniversary, and I really should be hyped. Like, I really should be, but I feel like this past Switch era of Pokemon just wasn't it. At least for me, obviously. Like, I have my criticisms about Pokemon of the Switch era in particular, not really the DS era and then the Game Boy era, because that was a whole different time. But since Pokemon has came to the console, it hasn't quite been the most successful in terms of like, gaining all the fan bases, fervor and like admiration, all that, because obviously since Sword and Shield, the fan base has been divided, and obviously that comes down to the game. It always comes down to the games, honestly, which is the biggest thing. I'm gonna talk about why I'm not so hyped when it comes to Pokemon Day 2026. Basically, what we're gonna see present is obviously we're gonna see that a new show. Obviously the night, the Surfetch and whatever Wooloo thing. They probably gonna show some of that. I mean, that's cool. I don't really. I mean that's fine. I haven't really watched the Pokemon anime in like years. But obviously we're gonna get TCG stuff. I don't collect TCG. I'm just not really that into it. It's cool for those who want it. I'm not mad at it. I'm just, I'm not really here for that. Obviously, we're gonna get a whole lot of, mobile game stuff, and I probably for the, most of the general audience isn't quite here for the, the mobile game stuff. People play the mobile game stuff, obviously, but I mean, obviously, we're really here for Gen 10. That's realistically what we're all, even if you don't want to say it, that's what we're here for. We're here to see Gen 10. So obviously we're gonna be 5 minutes of anime and show stuff, 5 minutes probably of TCG stuff, 5 minutes of Pokemon mobile game stuff, and then we kind of get into the actual stuff we're here to see, Gen 10, obviously, and then we gotta see Pokemon Champions, right? And I'm not a VGC player, so Pokemon Champions isn't something I'm really like dying to see, right? I can really care less about it. It's cool for people, for the VGC team, for the VGC scene, and people who like the battle Pokemon. I don't really care much about battle Pokemon. I mean, I can just play Showdown because it's right there available for free. I'm pretty sure Pokemon Champions for free either way, but obviously it's live. We haven't seen anything, and Worlds is this year, so they gotta pretty much show the date. So that's a given, right? I was just like, okay, so Champions. We don't really know anything about it, so that's gonna be probably a big chunk of the presents. And do I really want to sit here? Yeah, but I can take it or leave it. And then Pokopia, which comes out in a few days, is basically Animal Crossing with Minecraft and with a Pokemon skin. I don't really care about Minecraft and Animal Crossing like that, so I don't really care about the title. It's cool for those who want it, right? I ain't saying it's a bad looking game or anything. It looks nice. I just don't care for it. So hype levels are still down. Like I said, I don't do VGC. I don't do Pokopia. So what's left? Obviously Gen 10, right? Before I get to Gen 10, the Fire Red Leaf Green situation, I can care less about the $20 thing. It really doesn't matter, honestly. That's just, people getting mad about $20. It's $20. You can just emulate it for free. If not, you can just buy it for Switch. You don't have to do all the emulation stuff. You don't have to download things. It's easy use, whatever. I see both sides. Basically, people are mad at basically that you are paying $20 for essentially a ROM hack with home capabilities, and versus other anniversary projects or titles or whatever that comes out, and they have like, a whole collection, and there's online support, and then there's, quality of life stuff like, there's a speed up function and stuff. Pokemon doesn't do that. So obviously, I already knew Pokemon was gonna do that. Like, Fire Red Leaf Green came out, I'm like, cool, it's whatever. I can care less. I literally can give two shits about Kanto. Like, I really can, bro. Like Kanto, I really just do not care at all at this point. Changing that game real quick. Anyway, the Pokopia is in Kanto, and it's Kanto, and it's more Kanto. Like, woohoo, Kanto. Honestly, I started with Gen 2, so I don't really have the nostalgia of Gen 1 as some people have. Like Gen 2, probably, Heart Gold Soul Silver. Now we're kind of talking. Now we're kind of cooking. Those are obviously the definitive Pokemon games. Like, those are probably, no matter what anybody say, those are probably still the best Pokemon games, just by leaps and bounds. Just everything you can do in that game is ridiculous. Pokeathlon, Safari Zone, literally 16 gyms. You got 2 leaves to fight. Pokemon follow you. Just apricots. It was like Heart Gold Soul Silver was just a master class in just what Pokemon can be, at its greatest, right? Which leads me to the Switch era, where I think Pokemon was where its lowest was at, right? I'll do a whole review of Switch era on a whole video that really breaks it down. But basically, to summarize what that video will be, is that Gen 8 and Gen 9 was not it. I know people love those 2 gens, right? But realistically, Sword and Shield, Scarlet and Violet were not it. BDSP was not it. Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. I mean, that's cool, but it's watered down Pokemon, and it's Kanto again, right? That's obviously for the Let's Go people, but those aren't what I'm looking for, right? I'm looking for after Sun and Moon, I'm trying to see the next step, and I don't think Pokemon in the Switch really took that next step outside of the Legend games. And I believe the Legend games honestly save Pokemon, at least for me personally, because after Sword and Shield, I was kind of down the dumps within the gaming Pokemon games in general. Then BDSP happened, and trust me, I was really pissed off at those games. That's not Diamond and Pearl, bro. That's not Platinum. That ain't Diamond and Pearl. Like, what is that? Underground sucks. Still had glitches. The deck sucked. Like, it was just like, why even bother? So I was pissed. Like, waste of money. Then Legend Arceus comes by. I'm like, okay, we're up. Something new. No gems. I don't have to be a champion. Obviously, the Volo fight. Obviously, you're making the Pokédex. Like, everything the Legends did worked for me. Like, that was I needed Legends, right? So I'm going in on a high. I'm at a high now, right? Pokemon. I'm like, just okay. Pokemon, they in their bag now. Pokemon's in their bag now. Those two games, those weren't it, but they're in there. They know what they're doing now, right? And then Scarlet and Violet happens, and let me tell you, I don't care what anybody says, those games are probably the worst Pokemon games in the franchise. Maybe that's a hot take. Maybe that's not a hot take. I don't care. I stand by that 10 toes. We can debate all about it. Those games are probably the worst game. They Pokemon scammed us. I don't care what you say. Pokemon scammed us. Those games were not ready, and they still aren't ready for the Switch 1. They were literally broken on release. Glitches at the wazoo. Frame rate was trash. Memory leaks. We were scammed out of $70. Cause those games, it was like the Cyberpunk thing, right? Only difference is you can play Cyberpunk on PC and ran fine. PS5 ran fine. PS4 was the problem, right? That's where all the glitches was at. That game wasn't meant for PS4, obviously. But Pokemon though, there's only one. Well, there was only one system, obviously, to Switch. They only come out on Nintendo games, Nintendo platform. So that's literally the only place you can play. You could have played Scarlet and Violet, and to have all that on release for $70, bro. Come on, right? I'm like, ugh. So I'm like, those games. I hate those games. I don't care. I hate those games. Paldea sucks as the region. People say the best story. They only care about Area Zero. Like, Nemona has no story. Penny has no story, right? The gym sucks, right? Titan fights were okay, but like I said, that's Arvin's story, right? Team Star could have been something cool, maybe, I guess, but if you were never bullied, or you know, you don't really sympathize with, well, you could sympathize with them, but it wasn't like a meaningful, like, oh, I feel bad for the guy. I mean, it's like, I guess, but they got back at the bullies, right? Team Star got back at the bullies. They just didn't go to school afterwards. That was really it. So then, you know, you pretty much forced them to go back to school. It's like, okay, I can care less. Like I said, the gyms suck, right? Nemona she's nice, but okay, well, Glamora, whatever her name is, the champion, sucks, right? Obviously, she's not supposed to be, you know, the actual champion, you know, the last fight of the route, but still, she could at least, she's a champion. She should still be hard. Like, my first playthrough, I literally took out her home team with Ceruledge, basically Ceruledge. Like, Ceruledge with Bitter Blade, Psycho Cut, I think Shadow Sneak I had on it, or whatever, and I think I had another fire move. 2 fire moves, a Psycho move, and a Ghost move. Shuts her team down completely at this point, right? You just probably got switch out for the Glamora, but whatever. You just take that out. So I'm like, okay. Then the Mona comes. I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. Terra is a cool feat. Is a cool mechanic. It's a cool gimmick for competitive play. In the actual like story mode, it's pretty much useless, really. Like, you don't really have to use Terra at all. It isn't like Mega Evolution where it's an actual like part of the culture, or is new. Like, obviously in ZA is a big thing. Like, it's really cool. And in Galar, you know, I don't really like Dynamax that much, but it was obviously a part of the system, right? It was a spectacle, right? Terra was just like, whatever. So obviously I'm down on Gen 9, right? But then Legends ZA come along. I'm like, all right, cool. That's great. Like, I enjoy Legends, but obviously there's still some stuff that we need to talk about. Obviously there's no voice acting. People say no voice acting is fine. It's not fine, right? Play your second game. Like that. Some of these cutscenes, I don't want to see dynamic cutscenes if you're not gonna be voiced, bro. Like, the cutscene looks nice. If they're not voiced, I don't want them in the game. Just it's a waste of time. If I gotta sit here and just watch a silent movie, all right. It's 2026. It was 2025 last year. 2024 the year before that. It's time. All right, it's time. Even Dragon Quest haven't been adding voice acting. Monster Hunter Stories 2 had no voice acting for the main character. 3 does. Monster Hunter Wild, the protagonist talks. Atlas made Metaphor, their new series, basically. The protagonist talks. It's time, right? It's time. Okay, Pokemon. I know it's Pokemon at snail pace. It's time, right? And then obviously you have, you know, people mad about the PNG buildings or whatever, right? Obviously the graphics could have been better. The music, I mean, it's kind of on a loop. Lumino City's kind of on a loop. But obviously the ZA mechanic of battling was pretty fun. It was pretty fun. It's just that it needs tweaking a lot. But like I said, ZA, like Legends ZA and then Legends Arceus were pretty much the saving grace for the Switch era, in my opinion. And then obviously the fans, right? This is probably where we see the most. This era is where we saw the most divide of opinions, right? There's loyalists and then there's critics, right? Toxic on both sides. There's toxicity on both sides, and it's just like, man, Pokemon is just in a very weird place right now for me. And like, I need Gen. And it's obviously the cause of this is the main games, right? That's why I'm not really that hype. I'm like, ugh, I don't care about Kanto, right? I don't really care about Champions, right? I don't really care about Pokebia, right? TCG, don't really care about TCG. I don't really care about the mobile games, right? I don't really care about the animes unless you do like a new movie or something. That'd be kind of cool. That Search Fest thing looks kind of nice. Like if it's like a Generations, if you show out an actual like Generations or Evolutions, you know, anime, that would be kind of cool. But like I said, I don't know what they're gonna do, and that concerns me. I'm going in. I usually go in these things with some level of anticipation, but between that and then the DLC, the ZA DLC was trash, man. That was trash. That should not have been. What was it? $30? Like, come on, man. Like, and then obviously we go back to Scarlet and Violet. The games were broken, right? Then they still put out DLC for that game, and the DLC was worse, bro. Like the lake on Switch 1 in Kirikami was terrible. The frame rate was terrible. So I'm just saying, Switch era Pokemon, it has just been a complete mess for me. In terms of quality, in terms of expectations, in terms of what Pokemon can do and what Pokemon should do, but Pokemon don't do, right? Biggest franchise on Earth, we always say it. They got all the money in the world, basically. I don't understand why they just can't just allocate money to these games. The 3-year cycle obviously doesn't really work. They have resources. They gave Bandai Pokemon Snap, right? Pokemon Snap comes out beautiful, right? It has voice acting, right? It's like, obviously they can get help if they wanted to for games, right? We don't have to always have bad looking games. There's Nintendo has the resources to make these games better, and they don't, right? So that's what I'm saying. I don't want to make this any longer. It's just that I really need them for Gen 10, because this is the year I'm going in with a lot of skepticism, right? I gotta look at these games with a more critical eye now, right? $70 for Pokemon versus $70 for Monster Hunter Stories 3, and obviously one of the two are obviously doing something better than the other. And I'll let you take a guess which one is doing better, right? Digimon came out last year, blew ZA out the water, basically. I mean, there are two different genres of games. I mean, not genre, they're both Monster Team games, but obviously two different battle styles. But either way, Monster Stories 2 blew out whatever Pokemon game came out that year. I think it was either the DLC for Sword and Shield or BDSP, one of those two. But like I said, Digimon, Monster Hunter Stories, and you know, any Shin Megami Tensei, you know, these Monster Team games are obviously pushing the limp. You know, they're pushing the franchises, the genre forward, and I don't think Pokemon is helping. Is what I'm saying. So I really just want them to lock in for Gen 10. I need to see them lock in for Gen 10. I need to see, like, this trailer for Pokemon Day. It needs to be good, right? Obviously, everybody gonna go hype. Everybody gonna be hyped for the starters, whatever. That's cool. I need them to show me that my faith in them is warranted, right? They need to win my faith back at this point, right? I can't go into November thinking, oh man, what if these games aren't as good? I mean, but you know, Paldea was open world, but that was a very empty open world with nothing to do, right? The story wasn't really that great. I mean, Arvin's story was cool, was nice, but you know, look, there's no voice acting in a gaming spirit where everyone's doing voice acting, right? You know, they doing Beast of Reincarnation, right? That has voice acting. So Game Freak, you know, it's the question of, is Game Freak holding Pokemon back, or is Pokemon holding Game Freak back? I don't know. So it's like, when it comes to the games, I'm kind of, you know, I'm not that hype. When it comes to the franchise as a whole, you know, 30 years, that's still cool. I gotta give it a problem. Like, I still love Pokemon, whatever. You know, I still love Pokemon to the day I die. But when it comes to the games, I really hope Gen 10 is like it, right? Gen 10 needs to be goated, right? Gen 10 needs to be on the level of a Digimon Time Stranger, right? It needs to be, right? It needs to just be good, all right? There could be, always be criticism. There could be a few, you know, hiccups here and there, but it needs to be a Monster Hunter Stories 3, right? It needs to be, right? It just needs to be that quality. I need to see effort, right? I need to see a whole lot of effort, right? I'm not saying Pokemon, you know, doesn't put effort in the games, but I need to see way more effort than I saw in Paldea and Sword and Shield and BDSP, right? I need to see effort from Game Freak, from the Pokemon Company, from Nintendo. I need to see everybody putting in effort. I need to see 110%. I need to see 200% for these games. So that's my little rant or whatever for Pokemon. I just want to get that out before, you know, tomorrow comes. I will react to it live for myself, and then I'll upload a reaction later that day. But listen, if you stumbled onto this video, if you feeling not hype, look, I'm right there with you. I'm skeptical. Hopefully, you know, they show us something good. But that'll be it. Thanks for, you know, hearing me out, whatever. And I'll see you all in tomorrow's video and other videos. Peace.